So before we jump into the presentations, I wanted to kick off the day with just a few highlights from what has been really, honestly, our most exciting year ever. I'm just going to tell you about a few of the artists' achievements and a little bit about what we've been up to over the year. Byron Young, who's here, and his collaborator, Aaron Jafaris, premiered their creative capital project, Stuck Elevator, at ACT in San Francisco, and then later in New Haven, and Kathy Edwards, who brought them to New Haven, is here, to great acclaim. It's a beautiful piece. Ken Jacobs, who's also here, you'll hear from him, I think, a little later today, premiered his creative capital project at MoMA, and there were other big 80th birthday celebrations at Anthology Film Archives and the Museum of the Moving Image. And I know I'm not embarrassing Ken to reveal his age. He's been very upfront about it. He sent me a beautiful email. He said, this turning 80 thing, it's really rewarding. I recommend it to everybody. Mark Shepard's Sentient City Survival Kit, Mark's here also as an artist advisor this year, was at the Venice Architecture Biennale. Waka Waka, you'll hear from them in just a few minutes. Their piece Saga won a Drama Desk Award. It's about the economic meltdown in Iceland. It's a really extraordinary piece. It's about the economic meltdown in Iceland with full frontal puppet nudity and puppet sex. I'm just saying. Nick Cave took over Grand Central Terminal for a week in March, and more than 3,000 people attended his recent performance in Denver. Brad Lichtenstein, Jennifer Fox received Emmy nominations, as did Raising Renee, which is a film about grantee Beverly McKeever and her sister Renee. 6 grantees won Guggenheim Awards this year. Big deal. Laura Poitras and Natalia Almeida both won MacArthur Genius Awards. One of this year's biggest hits was Lucien Castaigne-Taylor and Verena Paraval's amazing film Leviathan. I hope you all have had a chance to see it. It has been all over the place, including Locarno, Toronto, the New York Film Festival, the Berlinale. Look at that list, it's amazing. Not to mention a commercial run at the Independent Film Center in New York. It also received rave reviews from the New York Times, the Boston Globe, IndieWire, and one from the most venerable of film critics, James Franco. It is so exciting to see an experimental film receive this kind of attention. It's been really great to follow its progress. Our artists have also invaded other sectors outside the arts. Theaster Gates, Golan Levin, Hassan Elahi all spoke at the World Economic Forum. Tia Lesson and Carl Deal received national attention after The New Yorker detailed the ongoing saga of their film Citizen Coke, which is a documentary about the influence of corporate money in politics and on our democracy. We met with them and suggested that they embark on a Kickstarter campaign, and as of today, I just checked this morning, they have raised $128,000 from more than 2,500 donors, so that was really amazing. Laurie Jo Reynolds, who's here, I think you'll hear from her tonight. Her tireless work with other activists led to the closing of the Tams Supermax prison in Illinois. And most recently, Laura Poitras, and I'm sure some of you saw her picture on the front page of the New York Times. Laura helped break the Edward Snowden story. She was his first media contact. She was the first person he contacted. Laura has graciously declined to be here today to spare Sean from being chased around by any drones. This is just a small sampling of our artists' accomplishments. You're going to hear a lot more today. And meanwhile, on the organizational side, we've had also a pretty amazing year. We were a big hit at this year's Pulse Art Fair. We sold more than 400 works by the incomparable Franco Mondini Ruiz in one weekend. Our professional development program is celebrating 10 years of bringing skills-building workshops to communities all across the country. We've now reached more than 6,000 artists. And if we haven't been to your community yet, we're ready. So, and we are in the process of moving. We're finally leaving the nest of the Warhol Foundation after 15 years. Well, actually, they're kicking us out. And it's all good, it's all good. And we'll be heading to our own office. So we have this dream to be able to afford a space that will be open and available to our grantees, kind of a mini incubator space, and a space that will also be able to serve as a home for our professional development workshops in New York City. So we're very excited. I want to also tell you about our ancillary programs. I think some of you know that other foundations asked us to take on there are some programs that they were interested in inaugurating. So these have had a fantastic year as well. The Doris Duke Performing Artist Awards, and Cheryl Akimia is here from the Duke Foundation, announced its second class of 20 recipients, and some of them are here, who will receive a total of $5.5 million. And now we're prepping for the launch of the Doris Duke Impact Awards in 2014, which will honor groundbreaking performing artists who have yet to receive significant national attention for their work. The MAP Fund, now in its 25th year, and that has been a really sustaining fund in the performing arts, will provide $1.4 million in grants to the class, to its new class of 41 performing artists, ensembles, producers, and presenters. The Arts Writers Program that I mentioned last night is in the middle of reviewing its latest round of applicants and will award nearly $600,000 to 20 arts writers later this year. We have representatives from each of those programs here, so please find them and ask them any questions that you might have about these great programs. Oh wait, we have some late-breaking news. I'm shocked to see that, really, I'm shocked to see that slide. In addition to grantees Caleb Lindsay and Sanford Biggers, board member Fred Wilson got to be a part of Jay-Z's recent performance at Pace Gallery. And yes, for those counting, this is the second year in a row where we have found connections to Jay-Z, bringing us that much closer to my personal goal of getting Beyonce to a Creative Capital retreat. So, I think she'd love it. Don't you think she'd love it? So, yeah, no. So what I'd like you to do is to all text her an invitation. There's a room in the dorm with your name on it, babe. So as you can see, it's been quite a year. It seems to us that our artists are taking over the world, and I don't know what you think, but I think the world might be a much better place if that were to come true. So thank you so much. I'm going to introduce our first artist, but I think, Leslie, you should reveal your second day's authoritarian T-shirt.
All right, here we go.
All right, so thank you all, and I'm delighted to introduce our first presenter of the morning, Eric Dyer.